resellers, thanks so much for tuning into today's video. You guys all agreed that you really liked this style and format of what sold video, so I am bringing you another. We're talking about 20 more things that have sold in Q4, just to give you guys an idea about not just the highlights in my store, not necessarily just the things that are pertaining to Q4 or the holidays, but everything that is selling in my store in Q4, and hopefully give you some insight about what you need to be looking for and what you need to pick up, what buyers are buying right now, and what you can list that perhaps you hadn't even considered. So we're going to get straight into it. We're going to be talking about these items, and I have 20 of them picked out. So without further ado, let's get straight into the first one, which is this gorgeous belt. I picked up an entire box of belts, and this was in that box. I picked it up for $2. I have a lot of like elastic stretchy belts in here, and this one belt alone sold for $13.34 plus $5.10 shipping. So I am well into the profit on the entire box just from this. Now this would in and of itself be a really nice cover photo for this belt, I believe. I wanted to show how this chain actually laid. So I put it on Becky the mannequin, and here it is. But these are my photos. I feel like belts are a little bit difficult to photograph. This is an important photo, I will tell you that, because this is going to tell your buyer exactly where hole 1 is, exactly where the last hole is, where the end of the belt is, so on and so forth. That, without that photo, is the #1 question you will receive on belts. I also show any markings on the inside of the belt as well as the size, just anything that's marked in there. This next item may surprise you that I sold it, but this is a headlight. Okay, so it's for an F250, F350. This is a OEM headlight. Actually got given this. This is a free headlight, and it is a brand new headlight. So this has never been used, and we sold it for $94.17 because it did get put in this 27% off sale, and I had free standard shipping on here. So this was, I want to say, right around $20 to ship it. It wasn't really as bad as you might think for a headlight, so we made plenty of profit on this free item. And again, I just photographed every little corner that I possibly could, and then on headlights or in any type of like an auto part, these numbers are really important because these are going to tell your buyers the numbers, you know, of the part itself. I photographed this because it was a little bit dusty, and to be honest with you, without some canned air, there were some areas in there I didn't want to have to dust. So yeah, this thing sold for great money. It's got Ford here with the product number, model number rather, for that part. Make sure that the buyer knows really exactly what they're getting. This next item that sold during Q4 is another Stephen King book. I talked about these in my last What Sold video. The Eyes of the Dragon by Stephen King, 1987 hardcover. I did determine this one not to be a first edition. I have, again, a cover of the front, the inside dust jacket. I thought this artwork was gorgeous, and Stephen King has credited the illustrator in this particular book. You don't see that all the time, so since the illustrator was such a big deal in this book, I took time to photograph some of the illustrations as well as the copyright page here. Inside of the dust jacket, the book without the dust jacket, again, super important. You see, when I removed this dust jacket, you could see, you know, there's a little bit of wear and discoloration here. A buyer needs to know that before they spend any money on your book. This was in a 10% off sale, bringing it down to $8.99 and $3.82 media mail shipping. This next item that sold is a pair of Lucky brand size 8 boots. I went really ankle boot happy one day at the thrift store and bought like, I don't know, 7 or 8 pair of ankle boots, and guys, they sold really, really quickly. I wasn't looking to get rich off of these boots. I think these I spent $3 or $4 on. Heck, it might be on the bottom. Well, here's where I took off the price. So maybe they were $4 or $5. It looks like that might have said $5 at one point. Anyway, sold it for $20.25 because they were 25% off of $27. I am charging shipping more and more on items. I used to charge shipping on everything, and then I went to a free shipping model. It did not work for me. If free shipping works for you in your store, you know, more power to you. Do what works in your store, but I am finding, especially more and more with the price increases, free shipping does not work for me in my store. There was a mark on the toe box here on this one and a little bit of wear overall, so I was careful to take pictures of all of that, and let's see if there's anything else extra special. The size. I had a buyer tell on Poshmark once that the Banana Republic espadrilles I sold her were not a size 7, she said. And I had this picture in the listing that showed that they were in fact marked as size 7, and that's what saved me from the buyer being able to return that item. She said these are way too small to be a size 7, which was kind of more of an objective thing because you know, all shoes are sized a little bit different. You know, a size 7 in one shoe may fit smaller than another, but since I had the picture, you know, we were able to keep the money on that sale. This pair of shoes actually zipped on both sides, which I thought was really unique, so I wanted to showcase that, and that's what that photo is all about. Again, ankle boots in the fall and winter are going to be a great seller, so list those boots if you still have not. Talked about that a bit in my last What Sold video. This is a Pendleton coat. This is wool, and I'm telling you, if this was my size, I might have kept it. It's a men's coat. It's Pendleton jacket coat, men's size large, hunting coat, gray, 100% wool, 8 pocket, excellent use condition. Guys, I almost listed this as new without tags. It was in that good a condition. I picked this up at a thrift store that had coats marked at minimum like $20 for, I'm talking like Ann Taylor and Banana Republic stuff. They had some coats at $40 and $60. They had this marked for $5. They missed it. They don't know every brand, I promise you, at any thrift store. I listed this very high at $120. It was 27% off. I was trying to negotiate a deal with someone. I think at around $60 for this just to see it go, put that money towards my car fund. And when someone swooped in and bought it for full price, which was discounted 27% off, and purchased it for $87.60 plus $8 shipping. Pendleton is a great brand to pick up. Get familiar with what wool feels like. That way, when you are in a sea of overpriced coats, you can find that wool item, pull it out, see what brand it is, you know, if it's Woolrich, if it's Pendleton, what it is, and if it's worth the money. This next item that sold is an empty box. This is an empty box for a PS4, Sony PlayStation 4, 500 gigabyte, jet black console, original, no unit. Put it in the title, box only. Empty box. Put it in the description, empty box. This says used. Let me show you the pictures on this empty box. This was actually my son's listing. I trusted him 100% with this one, and he came down and took the photos himself, listed this item himself. Got pictures of all the packing materials. You know, I told him basically what I would take pictures of. The instruction booklets were included. We sold this for $24 on a best offer and charged the buyer $9.30 shipping. Now, I told him, hey, let's do calculated shipping, take the weight of it, add a pound. I think maybe I even told him to add 2 pounds. This thing only weighed 4 pounds going out. I said add 2 inches to the side on each side. And I don't know how this buyer was not charged a true calculated shipping, because guys, this cost like $17 for us to mail out an empty box that only weighed 4 pounds, and that was via FedEx. I checked FedEx, I checked UPS. USPS wanted me to mortgage my house, obviously, because I think it ended up going over that cubic foot. But I was surprised to find out how expensive this was. So be careful when listing those empty boxes. But at the end of the day, it was still at market value of what people were paying for these, with or without the shipping. The next item, before I talk about this one, actually, let me go back to the empty box for just a second, because I wanted to remind you that since we are in fourth quarter and we're right on top of the holidays, it would be a really good time to put out memos to your friends and family that you source things like this. Because guess what people are getting for Christmas? They're getting game consoles, they're getting lots of Apple and iPhone and Apple Watch products, things like this that are there's always a market for those empty boxes. Designer clothing, designer purses, any type of an empty box that someone gets. I mean, even if you want to lurk around the recycling or something and gather up those boxes as people are getting those gifts, and you can list them well after Christmas. But at Christmas time, things like this definitely sell. This next item is just a remote control. I'm sure I bought this, I probably got this in a bulk buy from an auction, probably maybe have a quarter into it or less. Sold for $7.19 with $3.50 shipping. With electronics, especially remotes, I always take a picture of the battery compartment to show the buyer if there's any type of corrosion. That way you both know, right? It looks like a little bit of corrosion. You can see on the far picture there, that little bit of green. Again, I want the buyer to be fully aware. So that was a pretty good sale, just average bread and butter stuff there. These shoes that I listed, these are beautiful, like late 80s or possibly before, Justin boots. These are so beautiful. These were 25% off, offering them to the buyer at $22.49. They were women's size 5.5, which is an incredibly difficult size to sell. I charged the buyer $9 shipping. I think it might have been a bit more than that to ship, but they were a size 5.5. I could not be happier to get these out of my store. You can see the toe box was a little worn here, and I'd like to get to the bottom of these. I'd like to get to the bottom of it. I don't have a picture of the bottom of them. Let me tell you what happened. The buyer returned these. Well, they messaged me, and the first time that she wore these shoes, they broke down here, like a crack all the way across the toe, and she sent me a picture, and she said the other one was coming apart. I said, what a shame, these beautiful, beautiful vintage shoes. I'm so sorry about that. Let me return all of your money immediately. Don't worry about having to return the shoes. So a case never had to be open. I didn't have to deal with, why would I want these shoes returned to me? They were like $11, I think, to mail them out to her, because if you are mailing shoes right now, it's just astronomical with the recent USPS price increase. So I have no idea why I would want the shoes back. Did not want the shoes back. Refunded her money. So I'm putting this one in here because I did want to kind of warn you guys about, you know, obviously selling old shoes. Be careful. Bend them every which way that you can. And when they're just solid leather shoes and leather soles like this, that could happen. Give your buyer the benefit of the doubt and make a return when you need to. This next item that sold is a beautiful vintage Fiesta ware teacup. Sold for $9.81, and the buyer paid $9 shipping. That is about the only type of teacup or mug I'm interested in selling, is something where the buyer is willing to pay $9 shipping, because it's going to cost you $9 to $10 right now. I mail my teacups in a 7 by 7 by 6. I believe that's the dimension. The cube USPS boxes that you can get for free. I line it in mattress pad, put the cup in the middle, you know, fill it with, you want to fill any voids in the breakables. And I never had one arrive, praise God, broken. But if your buyer, if it's a teacup that, or a mug that won't command $9-10 shipping, don't pick it up. Stop picking up, you know, mugs for $0.25 because they're $0.25, because you are only going to get $10 with free shipping for them. It's absolutely not worth you picking them up. Again, my business model, I shouldn't say that for everybody. Some people would be just fine selling 1,000 items that they're profiting, you know, $2 on a month. That's still $2,000. That'd be great. It doesn't work for my business model. This next item sold within 24 hours of listing it. This is a Team Effort is the brand. Mascot head cover, Elephant, Alabama 460cc driver, which is the size. That's pretty important. You can see this had tags with it, and all of that information I was able to get from this tag. If you think I know anything about golf, you are daydreaming. This sold for $25 on a best offer. I think I had it listed at like $29.99 or something like that. And let's see, the shipping was $5.10 for this. So this did have a price right here. Maybe you can see that there's a little 2 right there on the far picture. Can you see that 2? And I scrubbed that with a little bit of essential oil, and most of it come off. And I don't think the buyer, you know, obviously there was no complaints or anything, but I don't think they really cared if there was going to be a bit of wear there. There was no wear to the item itself. The next item is very fourth quarter, a 1995 Casper the Friendly Ghost Halloween Bucket Candy Pumpkin Empire Blow Mold. $28.90 with free shipping was what I listed it at, and this was again captured on my 25% off sale. This sold probably the 8th of October. So I was happy again to sell something in October for Halloween and get it shipped out before that, before Halloween hit. This was actually a gift, and so she needed to change the address. So I was happy that this was going out as a gift to someone. I was able to send this first class, even though it is a larger blow mold, and I paid like 25 or 50 cents for this. $21.68. Definitely worth it. Always pick up Made in America pumpkin buckets. Now this one just said Empire on the bottom, but you can see it talks about North Carolina there. It has an 800 number. It has like you know, if an item has a web address, then I guess technically it could maybe still be vintage, but it's probably not. But 800 numbers are all right. This item, interesting sale here. Vintage Nancy and Storybook, question mark. It's not a Storybook doll. I had a collector tell me that already, so save the comments about it not being Nancy and Storybook. Hard plastic doll with floral gown dress fur stole. So these are beautiful dolls. This was part of a bulk doll buy that I bought like 26 dolls, I think, for $15, 63 cents a piece into the dolls. This one sold for $29.25. She was originally listed at $39, but again, I list things high and let them fly. And shipping was $5. So the buyer made the offer. I accepted an offer, and then they didn't pay for this right away. They sent me a message saying that they bought it by mistake and they thought they were buying another one. Was it too late to cancel? And I didn't respond right away. I honestly wasn't happy to get that message because there's just been so many non-paying buyers over on eBay lately. Wasn't happy to get the message, and I didn't respond right away, and before I could respond, they paid for it. So I never did respond, and I sent them out the doll. And I have received, I believe I've already received positive feedback on it. This next item is a pair of Birkenstocks, and these are Batula. So some of you may be less familiar with Batula here. You can see the name brand, licensed by Birkenstock. There are many brands that are Birkenstock brands that you may, again, be unfamiliar with. Birkies is one, Batula is one, and then I recently picked up another. I wish I had the shoe here close by. I would tell you it started with a T. Anyway, that was really interesting because that was my first time finding that. But not all Birkenstocks say Birkenstocks on them. There are lots of times, you know, if you were just to turn this over and see Batula on there, you may put them down and think, oh, I was almost fooled into thinking those were Birkenstocks. They are Birkenstocks. $26.25 for sandals in October is great. $7.50 shipping. These again were captured in my 25% off sale, so it looks like the sale was doing fairly well for me. But everything in the store was on sale, so anything that sold during this time is going to reflect that sales price. The next item that sold is very, again, fourth quarter because it is a winter hat. Vintage 1970s NFL knit winter palm beanie, Arizona Cardinals, stocking cap patch hat. Now, I asked you guys in a recent video if you call these beanies, boggins, what do you call them? And you guys were kind of split on exactly what you refer to these as. So sock hat is your stocking hat. You know, you just include as many of those terms as you possibly can. Obviously, you only get so many characters with eBay. What is it, 80 characters? So just use them wisely and list in good categories. This was listed product, cap, hat is what it says. Anyway, list in a good category. I utilized the vintage clothing categories that was brought up in a live that I was in the chat of recently, whether or not people utilize the vintage clothing categories. And I absolutely do, because as a vintage clothing buyer, if I type in, let's say I'm looking for single stitch Johnny Cash shirt. And you know, when you type in single stitch Johnny Cash, you could hit enter, or eBay is going to suggest to you right underneath that what category you want to search in, and one of them is going to say vintage clothing. As a vintage clothing buyer, I'm going to click that first. So if your top is now not listed, if the shirt is not listed in that category, it's not going to come up in the search results. And if it truly is a vintage piece and you're trying to attract vintage collectors and not people that are trying to get the best deal on an item because it's in the wrong category, it seems like you should list it in the vintage category. That being said, one of the things that they talked about, and this was over in a live that Philly Flipper had, and one of the things that was brought up was that the only required category or required specific in a vintage item is the UPC, which is super, super strange because why would you have a UPC? But I feel like that's to our advantage because they don't get super picky about some of the specifics, including brand. A lot of vintage items such as this are unbranded. So pick up those vintage clothes, list them in the vintage clothing category. I'm telling you that as a vintage clothing seller, I sell a lot of vintage clothing. The next item that sold was this Wobble deck by Diggin, electronic balance memory board game, toy tested, and I included the word Christmas. How many times have you been trying to buy that last minute gift and you type in gag gift, Father's Day, Christmas gift, because you literally have no idea what to buy? If you have the extra keyword space, if you have the extra characters right now in some of your titles, especially for toys or jewelry or anything like that, consider typing in the word Christmas or Christmas gift. Kids gift. mom's gift, whatever may be suitable for your item if you have the extra keyword space. This I purchased for $2. This is kind of a neat little toy. I used a background eliminator on this, and it was just eBay's background eliminator. But the kid stands on here, and it might say 2, and they have to balance and hit the 2. 3, and they have to balance and hit the 3. I thought my kids might want to play with this for a little bit. Well, my youngest anyway, before it sold. But to my surprise, he had zero interest in it. Picked it up for $2. Sold it for $26.77 with $11.65 shipping. And yeah, so I was happy about this sale for sure, and I'm not sure if it is actually a Christmas present or not. This sold definitely within the week, within maybe a few days of listing it. The next item that sold was something my husband and I accidentally bought. Technically, we didn't need when we installed our recent garbage disposal. The garbage disposal came with this. I want to say we maybe paid $3 for it, and we couldn't take it back, and I said, in lieu of losing our $3, I'm going to put it up on eBay. I did put it up on eBay for $6.99 with free shipping, and it sold. Again, probably within a week of listing it. So I just wanted my money back, and I got that because this was like a 2-ounce, item to mail. So again, not necessarily fourth quarter related, but something that a buyer may always be looking for. If they don't have a hardware store near them, then they need something like this shipped to them for free if they can get it. The next item that sold, let me see if I have a picture of this all boxed up. I do not. I found this ice maker. Yeah, just a random Samsung ice maker in my thrift store, and it said on the box, ice maker as is $5. And when I looked it up, I was like, those go for over $60. Well, it got captured again in my 27% off sale. It wasn't listed anytime, but there were several listed. I talked about product ratings here, so these are people that have purchased the same product before and actually rated it, not rating the seller. But let's just see if people thought it had one. We recently remodeled our kitchen. Oh, okay, so they thought that the refrigerator maybe came with one. Anyway, so you'll get some random reviews down here attached to your product, but this sold for $50.37 plus $9.30 shipping. That absolutely fits my model of aiming at 10% sales price, not my net, but 10% gross, or 10 times, I should say, gross from what I paid for an item. So an ice maker in fourth quarter. Yeah, who knew? Two very interesting sales because I didn't just sell one pool stick, I sold two. You're about to see the other one that I bought. But I listed these quite some time ago. Looks like I should have cropped my photo a little bit right here. You can see my eBay tape and everything. Anyway, this one was not in perfect condition. We got these free 10 years ago with a pool table that we bought, and got rid of the pool table probably 2 years ago, hung on to these pool sticks so that I could sell them, and just listed them. This sold for $18.75 plus $10 shipping, and I used the long priority mailing tube for these because obviously the pool sticks unscrew. And they weren't listed a whole long time. I would say these sold within 30 days of listing them. Again, this is one of them, and then I'll skip over to the second one. This is a Winston. It looks like a Winston cigarette whenever it's completely put together. I wanted to take pictures of every little detail here for the buyers. A buyer can't see and feel your item, so give them as much information as you possibly can. This buyer had 0 feedback at the time. They have 1 feedback now. And I accepted an offer. I'd never worked out an offer with them. $19.50. It was 25% off. The shipping was $12. It was a state neighboring me, so it didn't even cost that to ship. And yeah, I felt like both of these pool sticks were pretty decent money. I mean, if you're able to pick up pool sticks cheaply, at a yard sale or something, go for them. I mean, $20 a piece plus shipping. That was an excellent sale. I sold a third pool stick recently that was a Coca-Cola teddy bear, and that one sold for over $30. So especially some of the really cool off-the-wall ones, being a cigarette, the Coca-Cola bear one, they can go for good money. This next item that sold, I bought this thinking I might keep it for my kitchen, but I have an electric mixer that was my grandma's, and truth be told, I'm going to reach for that every single time. There's something about that vintage piece that, like, there's a smell, and I mean a good smell, and it just reminds me of my grandma. So this is a vintage Echo Super Speed handheld manual egg beater. black handle, angled, USA. I used every single one of those 80 characters there, I can guarantee. Buyer paid $7.50 shipping plus $11.61, which was 10% off at the time. But for just this basic beater, I probably didn't expect this to go for the buyer being all in at almost $20. I want to say that I paid $1.50, maybe $2 for this. So again, it fits the business model. Everything, you know, everything definitely looked good there. And I wanted to take some time to also show you guys again how basic my descriptions are. I feel like listing a lot of really quality inventory is important. And the one thing that we complain about the most is buyers don't read descriptions and buyers don't look at all the photographs. Put a lot of photographs in there, as many as you can, because that feeds eBay's algorithm. Don't stress out over your descriptions. When I first started selling on eBay, I basically told a story in every description. And I would do like a voice to text, like a talk to text on my phone. And I would say things like, these great jeans are a medium wash with a faded and distressed knee. The 5-pocket design is great for blah, blah, blah. Like, buyers don't care. This is what my description reads now. Vintage, I have the title, and then after the title, unless there is something wrong I need to disclose, I copy and paste this into every description. So the title, which is pre-populated by eBay, ships fast, please see all photos, thanks and God bless. That is it. And I'm selling plenty over on eBay, so stop stressing out over your descriptions. Get some good pictures in there. Pictures are your best description. If there's something wrong, note it here, note it in the title if it's a huge deficiency, just because that way if the buyer comes back and says, well, you didn't tell me there was a tear in the underarm, you can point to your description and say, it says there's a tear in the underarm, please see photo. Or tear in the underarm as pictured. I'll use that sometimes. But yeah, if there's not anything major wrong, that is my description every time. Super, super basic. So these are 20 more items that have sold for me in fourth quarter. I'm glad that you guys are liking this style of video. These are a lot easier actually to edit and to put together than what I thought they would be. And I think in lieu of showing you my tablet or trying to get a glare off of anything, this just seems to work a lot better. You can see this crisp and clear picture. So, if you made it this far, since this egg beater was the last thing we talked about, will you guys put an egg in the comments? If you're on your phone, if you're on a computer, type the word egg, okay? But put an egg emoji anywhere in the comments. And I just thank you guys so much for being here, for supporting this channel the way that you do. Let me know what other types of what sold videos that you want to see in the future. If you want to see just my basic everything that sold like this, or do you guys want me to do a few that are maybe high ticket items that you would like to know about? Thanks so much once again. God bless you guys. And remember, treat your business like your business.